MDK. Fresskowy now on the chase. This is going to be big for the Ahri. Instantly over the wall. Now chasing down Yike. Will get the reset on the Mikyx. The charm connecting as well. Fresskowy doing so much work.
Oh, you flash it, flash it.
Maybe?
I got no flash.
Wait, there is big tower.
Wait, I might run, but I might run.
Go. I do have TP. If they TP, I can match.
Yeah.
I kill him too. Nice.
Okay, hurry.
Look at Rakan. They can follow. Look at Jinx as well. I'll kill him. I will kill Jinx. Yeah. Go dash after him. Look at Rengar. Rengar can't jump. Okay, by the way. Kill Rengar. Kill. I can go.
I'll go.
Be ready to run Nash. Nice.
Welcome back to the LEC G2, putting themselves in the lead of the series against MDK. But most importantly, we just saw a Rengar.
Yeah, we did.
And as a negative win rate Rengar main, please break it down for us, Jamada.
Okay, I've not played Rengar in a good while. I'm not sure if I'm negative win rate, but yeah, very interesting to see Rengar. It's the first time since 2021 summer, played by Bwipo. But yeah, this champion, more or less, what Rengar wants to do is either invade the enemy jungler and try and find basically isolated 1v1s, and what he needs is strong lanes to do that. In this game, I don't necessarily feel like he has, you know, the optimal setup for it. He did still find a couple of decent skirmishes, and if it's not invading the jungler 1v1, then it's basically finding skirmishes in the jungle where your lanes have first move, and that way you kind of just get to really abuse the fact that Rengar is a very strong early game skirmisher, and they did find some of those early game skirmishes.
I think this is a great example where Elyoya is playing aggressively in the river for Scuttle. Caps was not level 5 for Fresskowy, got 6 moves down towards his team immediately. And with Rengar, you just have to force these early plays. I think the mid-jungle synergy is really important, like being on the same page with Fresskowy so they can go in together. And that's pretty much what happened. Like, Caps was never really able to follow, and G2 didn't really respect Rengar's strength as well as Fresskowy's mid lane timings. And now, when you look at Mad, one of their challenges has been not so much early game, they're actually a really strong early game team in my mind, but when they get this advantage, how do they utilize this and can they snowball it? And with an assassin jungler like Rengar, that's even more important.
Yeah, and the problem is, not only did they obviously, you know, have a bit of an oopsie on the bottom lane dive, which we'll get to very soon, it's like, Rengar's a win more champ, but he's playing into Rel, he's playing into Nami, he's playing into Exhaust, he's playing into Rek'Sai, which also, if he's invisible and Rek'Sai's nearby, you just see exactly where he is through the sonar. So it's a very, very difficult game for Elyoya, or specifically Rengar, to play out in this kind of situation. And yeah, it felt like after Mad go through one bad play, it's kind of difficult to recover from that when you are running that assassin jungle. And
that bad play particularly was that bot lane dive that we've already seen a little bit, because when you're looking at MDK, as you said, they get that early lead, but then they just get too overconfident and push it a little too far. Limit testing gone wrong.
I think they forgot how they actually got the lead to begin with. The lead came off of Fresskowy utilizing 2 timings where Caps couldn't follow to move down, create a number advantage, and then play aggressive. But in this particular case, MDK goes forward and makes the play without their mid laner, who is spacing, by the way. Caps pushes out mid freely, is able to ult down with Taliyah. And I think this is the problem for Mad very, very often. Like, at first, they're really good at recognizing what needs to be done to get the advantage. But once they have it, they get a little bit overexcited, over-eager. And instead of continuing to play by the book, they make one mistake. And if you do that with a champion like the Rengar, there's no coming back.
Yeah, and then it crumbles even further because 20 minutes into that game, you want to contest for that Drake, but you have a Rengar. You don't necessarily have a team fighting composition, and then everything goes sideways.
Yeah, you can kind of see it's just so awkward, especially in moments like these where perhaps Rengar doesn't have ultimate. If you're not able to actually, in this case, if you start full behind as Rengar, you're basically just a Rakan enabler at that point. And it felt like, time and time again, G2, in a very organized fashion, were just able to ensure that they never allowed Rengar to be in a position to actually give Rakan good ultimates. And even if Rengar jumps in, like we saw towards the end of this fight here, he just gets exhausted, he gets stunned by Taliyah, the Taliyah Unraveled Earth. It's so difficult for him to actually approach if he's not able to just straight up insta-give someone out of invisibility.
So all I'm hearing is next game, please no Rengar.
Well, we don't mind the Rengar, but if they do lock it in, they will probably get the advantage again, knowing how good Mad is in the early game. But then they need to remember, mid lane exists. The way you got the advantage was by utilizing Fresskowy, grouping with the Rengar, and if you forget that, well, things can get really ugly.
Yeah, it's about discipline as well, right? I feel like this bottom lane dive, which kind of turned the game around, I think in theory makes a lot of sense for them to go for it. even though they're down their mid laner, I think if they actually go in, get out quickly, it's fine, but they weren't anticipating Yike. They allowed them to go a little bit too far back. The tower shots are ramping, and they're able to get run down. So I think it's just about ensuring that they're making sure they're taking plays which are maybe not as risky, right? They can just identify, okay, this play is good, but maybe we can just wait like another 30 seconds, maybe another opportunity reveals itself, and just play out the lead that they have through a more macro sense, as opposed to just trying to make picks for the sake of making picks, because that's kind of what that bottom lane play felt like to a point.
I think this could also be one of those picks that, you know, if MDK locks it in here, obviously they've had a lot of success with it when they played it in scrims. But when you play scrims, everybody is a bit more, you know, loose, everybody's relaxed, there's going to be a lot more fights and you naturally get those kills. And when you do, you also feel confident to just go ham and snowball really fast and efficiently. But here, when you play against a team like G2, they are pretty much used to playing from behind.
They're also world scrim champions.
They may be world scrim champions.
So, you
that's
know.
a good point. But, you know, if we look at Winter, for example, they often fell behind early. They have plenty of practice, you know, just sitting back, putting defensive vision and waiting for the opponents to make mistakes. And that's the ball game they played here to bring it back.
For Mad Lions, though, them selecting this blue side, particularly Jamada, any threats early on you think they should be completely eliminating? We've already seen VB on the Rek'Sai and how detrimental that was during regular split. It feels like here in playoffs it's not any different.
Yeah, I feel like the Rek'Sai is definitely a big like pain point. They were even it's sort of losing side lane whilst all the rest of the nonsense is going on the map. It's either the Rek'Sai to me or the Taliyah, right? I think the fact that Caps has had so much freedom in that game, I think it's more gameplay based as opposed to necessarily champion based, but it's got to be on the front of Mad's minds in terms of, all right, is this potentially a pick actually which can enable maybe another Rengar pick? I doubt we'll see Rengar, because if I'm Mad Lions, I don't think I'm hedging an entire series on a Rengar pick, but it's one of those things where I think, again, like Matt said, you have to really push the envelope on ensuring that you've got mid lane priority and you're playing through that mid jungle to then continue to snowball that lead.
And instead it feels like a heavy focus on the bot lane with the Draven and Kalista ban, and then you take Asol as well out of the pool. Not particularly a champion that we've seen around.
No, I think the Aurelion Soul ban certainly is a little bit of a surprise. It seems like Matt, you know, doesn't want to end up in a mid and late game where they could potentially get really outscaled by G2. If you remove the likes of Aurelion Soul, you pick Azir, you will not only have a lot of pressure in the early game from mid, but you literally can't get outscaled.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It's very hard. There's not really many champs, and Asol is pretty much the only answer that springs to mind. So Mad Lions putting a lot of stock in the Azir early pick, and G2 go towards the Volibear, go towards the Jinx. This says to me, all right, we want hyperscaling out of the bottom lane. We're getting very used to that now since 14-6 has come in, and I'm expecting on this 3 here for G2, probably something like an Arya or Taliyah again, and you're just looking to kind of have a strong mid-jungle duo, try and lock in something that's going to have very strong counter-engage to me, or it kind of depends on what Mad are looking for, but to me that's where I'm kind of looking for G2 on this 3. Mad go towards the Ivern though, so this is looking like, what, hyper carry on the bottom side, hyper carry technically in the mid lane for Azir.
Opposite of the Rengar completely.
And they're just pretty much looking to outscale as much as they can on the G2 end.
This is a very interesting approach, but I think you also got to keep in mind, Ivern is, sure, as a standalone champion, he doesn't deal the most amount of damage. He's not going to walk up and one-shot people like a Rengar would, but he's going to be able to control Volibear pretty easily. Volibear is naturally going to play super aggressive early. He's going to force dives and make plays. Ivern can come in with good old Daisy and find easy counter ganks. Like once, you know, Yike goes aggressive, Ivern is there, Volibear is going to be run down because once he comes in, there's no way out. And I think it's a pretty smart answer. Also, you know, picking something like the Varus to get some early game aggression and give him a lane to play through, I think it's also pretty smart because, sure, you're going to want some scaling. You have plenty of that with Ivern and Xayah. You also need to survive early. Varus helps you.
All right, let's see where G2 go though, as well, and where Mad Lions go, because they're going to have to eat 2 support bans for sure. I'm wondering if the second one is Alistar. No, it's Renar, so they don't want to deal with the like super strong 2v2. But Alvaro's definitely still got options. I'm kind of wondering whether or not Mad Lions Koi want to pretty much kind of just dig their heels in and go super defensive and just kind of wait and bide their time, or if they're going to actually look for proactive tools because they see G2 already has 2 forms of pretty reliable engage.
What we're looking at particularly with Mad Lions Koi was the fact that they're great early, but then failed to translate that into mid to late game. With the composition that they're currently running, it feels like that's the weakness from their game that they want to attack.
It kind of, I guess in a way, this opening almost feels like a soft band-aid for it, right? It's like, okay, as long as we don't completely flip the game in the mid game, our champions will just kind of scale in and we should be able to play it out from there, G2 go towards that Taliyah, like mentioned earlier, so they're going to have, you know, a lot of move, expecting that. So it should be Yike caps going towards this bottom side. And like Broxah said, it's going to have to be about Ivern looking to match. Ooh.
Ain't no way.
No way.
Oh, it's Varus top.
It's Varus top lane. It's okay.
I guess there's a way.
Okay.
So Mad Lions Koi have really been getting a little creative
They're doing it
in
again.
the last couple of days. How are we feeling about the Varus top lane?
Yeah, this is not the first time that Mad Lions Koi have done this. I think they actually had this composition at some point a few weeks ago.
But it's blind.
Yeah,
You blinded
it is blind.
This
I know,
crazy
look,
boy.
I know, he's very crazy, but Myrwn's a very, very bold lad. It seems like he's probably just going to be dealing with, hopefully, in his case, a TF, and it's just going to be a bit of a farm fest, and they're more or less going to scale into the game and sort of provide similar-ish things.
But then you have the TF who has the ultimate available to go and join the team, whereas at a Varus, you're going to have to run, what, TP Flash, most likely?
Maybe. He's probably going to have to go Flash Ghost, because TF is going to have Flash Ghost, and you don't really want to be a summoner spell disadvantage. I think for me, G2, now what they've rounded out their comp with is a very strong mid-game where they should be able to play out the map very, very efficiently between the two globals, and Mad Lions, without any agency in the early game, potentially are going to have to struggle and be on the back foot, trying to catch them at every single opportunity.
Well, I think the opening for them is the fact that Azir can pressure mid both pre-6, but especially after 6, Taliyah is going to be very killable. The Varus top is going to be playing aggressive and contesting the Twisted Fate. And now instead of Elyoya being the aggressor, he's the one who has to cover and defend his solo lanes, who then push forward to get the gold lead going. Whether or not they'll be able to do that is the big question, but I think solo lanes is where the magic is going to happen.
I agree, Mads.
You guys agree?
It's either the solo lanes, or to me, from the perspective of G2, they have to try and smash out the bottom lane a bit. I feel like you want to probably put this Jinx ahead into all of this zone control on the opposite side between Varus and Azir. You want Jinx to try and be accelerated here to have a good time.
Are we expecting jungle pressure more towards the top or bot side of the map, considering that you have a TF Varus, but then you also have a Xayah, Rakan in the bot lane, you don't want them to get too crazy?
I expect the supports to act like bot lane doesn't exist. Let the two hyper carriers just farm, move top side, get your top laners ahead, because whoever gets the top advantage will have so much pressure later.
All right. And with that, we're ready to head into the game. So casters, please do take it away.
Thank you, Jenny. Yet another Myrwn Varus top game. Legendary lane bully. Finn complained about this pick on the podcast, talking about how it was very annoying and very scary. G2 clearly giving it some respect as they're going to fight for push control here. Interestingly, not the on-hit Varus, and opting for cleanse instead of the ghost, so could get run down by the TF. This is a bit of a trickier scenario to play the Varus. We'll see if he goes lethality, if that is what the Halo Blades is telling us, or if this is just something for early trading against the Twisted Fate.
Yeah, I'm just trying to see if he has picked up the Halo Blades at all the last few times we've seen him play it, but yeah, I think it's going to be super interesting. We did see this exact same draft against Fnatic back in winter, and it is interesting to see them pull it back out, because I think the reason it helped out in their matchup against Fnatic was, hey, we've got a ton of range, and we know the Fnatic want to try and play short range, do things like Sante and Aphelios and this kind of stuff. And we're going to be able to play for team fights where we can look to abuse that range. This game is a little bit more difficult because G2 have the opportunity to play a ton of side lanes. They have an opportunity to kind of run down Myrwn, especially as he tries to aggress onto top side. You know, burn a cleanse early with the BB on TF, and then make sure you're able to rinse and repeat with Yike, get control there, and just start to play a 1-3-1 where you can abuse when MDK are short on the map or getting caught out as they try to overextend. So I'm curious how MDK are going to try and play this, because I think it's going to fall back to Elyoya. And Elyoya has been incredibly active when he is on the Ivern in the past, and has had some really good terror dives, has been able to play really effectively around it. But I think if he doesn't get active in the early stages, it becomes quite easy for G2 to play at the map state, and you've just got a ton of vulnerable carries on the map that they can pick whatever they want for.
Yeah, and we're setting up for Ivern to clear back towards topside as those camp timers tick down, and you can pick them up. Broken Blade. I think the tricky thing here is you are blind picking it, as the desk highlighted, and the last few times we've seen Varus top from Myrwn, it has been into melee matchups. It's been into things like K'Sante to punish these tankier champions who are going to suffer at that range discrepancy. Now, Varus is very powerful early on, and you can see that in the fact that Broken Blade's been forced to ghost away. You know, hail of arrows early on, that attack speed slow, or not the attack speed slow, excuse me, the movement speed slow is big, but Yike! Already looking for a bit of setup. Cleanse likely to get forced here. Immediate follow-up gold card. But that's why Varus is scary. 3 quick autos, and he's already even in health, at least with Broken Blade, and now essentially even in sums.
Also means that if you're Elyoya, maybe even look to try and invade on towards the blue buff on the opposite side. You know, Yike going to take a lot of time to try and get back there, has to go for the reset, but may just look to try and invade on that with Supa and Alvaro, but did smite on that bottom side, so not going to be the case. Instead, he's just going to back away and look to, more than likely, move up into this top side and try and support Myrwn as he looks for the wave crash.
Definitely wants that little bit of support. Early, strong recall can be a big difference maker here. Energizer build for TF, obviously nice for keeping the wave pressure up. It doesn't always give him the most trading power. Usually it's the range he relies on. See if BB adapts his build at all in a range v range matchup. But it's, once again, a quiet game. Elyoya off to a little bit of an early jungle pathing lead, at least in terms of CS, as Yike did spend some time on the top side of the map relieving pressure.
A lot of this, though, even the draft and the way that we're seeing Elyoya path, feels to me like they've done a lot of research. We saw the Aurelian Sol ban. If you look at Cap's solo queue history, he's been playing a ton of that into like the likes of the Azir, so saying that early ban because they want to prioritize the Azir. We look back at G2's last game against Vitality, Yike was willing to forego camps in order to get his lanes ahead, and I think he can do a very similar thing for Yike. So Yike now coming top to cover that play, even burning the flash there on BB is huge, because now it becomes far more difficult for BB to start up a flash stun onto Myrwn to set up Yike as he comes into the lane.
No flash stun, and also at level 6, you're pretty vulnerable to ganks yourselves. Yes, Varus arrow is not quite as point-and-click reliable, or Varus ulti, Chain of Corruption, isn't as reliable as the point-and-click of a gold card, but it is something that has to be respected. Broken Blade likely to have Ghost at that point, but won't, have access to the flash, won't reliably be able to get away. You can see early early plated steel caps. Eventually I'll get the name of that item right. It's only been like a gajillion years since they changed it. Will help at least mitigate some of the Varus trading potential as Yike and Elyoya trading blows. Fresskowy starting to wander down, but man advantage for the side of G2. Mikyx hooks the wall, however. And suddenly this play starts to feel bad. Two-man knockup is there. Flick back from Caps is good, but they just do not have the damage at this point in the game. Yike gets taken down for first blood. Combo from Caps not that menacing without the follow-up, and MDK quick to punish a small misstep from the G2 support.
Mickey not getting that hook was crucial. They might have been able to pick off either Fresskowy or Elyoya before Alvaro was able to come in, but they end up kind of leaving Yike out to dry as well at the back of it. Hook, though, will land this time to Alvaro. Good damage. He's able to get on out.
Again, I think this is the struggle of this combo early on, as Taliyah just does not hit this early in the game. Yike now returning to the top side of the map, potentially going to look for that setup angle in the top lane. Myrwn still has flash, though. So I think the most you're really hoping for is to try to get the flash while the cleanse is not available. Myrwn fighting for control of this. Elyoya on the top side as well, however. It might just be the 2v2, but Elyoya's incredibly low. Elyoya has to be careful not to just give his life here as well. Damage coming down with the Sky Splitter. Myrwn now forced to flash out, but Yike, of course, no flash of his own. Means MDK will walk away, capture the Weaver's Wall.
They can completely zone them off here. They abandoned tower, and that's what Cap's going to do. No flashes.
Trying to get on the opposite side, but he manages to get them both next to Yike. The flick back is clutch. Elyoya back in a brush of his own design, hoping to hold on here, but it's an easy, straightforward dive for the side of G2. Broken Blade tanks to the tower. Now they can set their sights on these plates.
And so often, Caps on this Taliyah this series has had important moments where he stepped up and found those picks, and another setup there nets the 2 kills that G2 needed in these early stages. With how much control MDK were trying to establish on top side, that is crucial.
And MDK adapted their draft, going for the Azir. Yes, one of the most powerful picks, if not the most powerful mid laner overall in terms of what he provides. But the downside is it's not the Ahri. You can't follow a lot of these roams in the same way the Ahri could, and G2 making great use of that.
But great bait from BB. He plays it so safe, immediately locks the gold card as well as it comes up. So you force the flash from Myrwn. But Nuke, or not Nuke, the Azir just gone for the reset. Fresskowy, we just cast the last game. Fresskowy coming up means that then Caps is able to catch out MDK as they're trying to escape. So nice timing there. And just unfortunate for Myrwn, thought he had the support of Elyoya. Assumed Yike was going to be in the bot side. But Yike's been getting really clean with these, kind of baiting people into false sense of security, because it's like, well, my camps are up bot side, I should probably be bot side. It's like, oh, no, I'm actually up there on the top end.
Okay, there's one man with a crazy reaction on his face, and it's Ramah. Everyone else is like, okay, cool, yeah, League of Legends. Wow, literally looks like he's going to die if that play does not work out right.
I do always appreciate the dichotomy between the two of them, because Ramon is always just like, oh my god, this is going terribly, is it great? And then Dylan Falco is just like,
man.
I don't know, man. Yes. I've been through this before.
More data, more analysis, yes. Respectable. Rodrigo as well. Don't want to, exclude anybody. Elyoya now trying to contest a bit of this vision on the bottom side of the map. But I think it's good that you highlight that. I think that a lot of teams get a little bit too comfortable in the copy-paste jungle pathing and aren't willing to anticipate someone maybe breaking that pathing or conceding some gold to make a play. As now, On the bottom side, Hansama, nice flash backwards, trying to get the reset onto Alvaro. That's big. Hansama can now try to run to safety. MDK fumbling the dive. Feather's gonna fly. Hansama tries to back to me, just doesn't have enough health, enough time. The pullback clean from Supa to ensure that they get the double.
The glacial augment from Elyoya making it impossible for Hansama to really escape. So slow on the trifecta, or whatever, the triangle that came out from that glacial augment. And it meant that Supa was able to set up nice there. So even though you end up with Alvaro giving his life, you see it here. Hansama gets the reset as they go under here with that good flash that you called out, Drakos. And as they get the kill, watches the stun on Mikyx comes through. Hansama can't run anywhere because he's so slow on that field. And then Supa, with the flash, gets the double. But now Alvaro needs to E out of here.
Alvaro should be okay. The immediate CC not quite there. The Chomper's going to connect, but now the damage follow-up is not. Daisy more than happy to body block any potential CC to come through as Yike just going to stun the big cupcake. Mikyx going to try to finish that one off just to make sure that Daisy's not a threat. So that's down 50 extra gold to the side of G2, but really good dive. 2 kills to Supa early on is going to be rough for G2 to deal with.
Especially if they try and go for this dragon. Yes, you don't have Daisy, but you do have Kraken Slayer for Supa. So if Supa gets his opportunities to free hit, it could be the play. And maybe it's G2 looking to just punish the fact that he's now got no summoner spells and no ult available. But Badlands Koi stepping forward, knowing that as long as they keep Supa safe, they should be relatively okay here.
Supa no boots, but does have the Kraken Slayer. Xayah obviously not one of the champions who usually itemizes. Hold that thought. Weaver's wall coming in. Caps making an appearance on the top side. Flick back into the waiting arms of Broken Blade. The tower as well. Myrwn can't even auto attack. He'll get taken out by the tower. And Caps grabs another. Playing on the bottom side.
Fresskowy could start to move into this bot lane. He's about to clear at the mid wave. Caps resets, TPs into mid, but mainly bot lane a little bit overexposed. You can see Yike playing very far back. They assume the dragon has been started up by MDK. So Cap's just going to poke his nose in towards this river area and spot out exactly what MDK are up to.
MDK need to get this. Need to continue to assure their own scaling to buy time. Huge damage coming in from Supa. Power the Kraken Slayer as now the rest of the team tries to chase. Excellent disengage comes in from Elyoya. Fresskowy the only one in the pit. This is a bit awkward. Forced to retreat now. They get the kill onto Mikyx, but they also just leased the Drake for G2.
It was the reset from Broken Blade. MDK got the pick. They were like, cool, now we've got the numbers advantage. But Alvaro going so low and BB resetting, they were very worried about the Twisted Fate being able to ult in onto the play. So they decided to back it up and give the first dragon. Kills going to Supa, though. Pretty big thumbs up. Cloud Dragon going across to G2 is nice, but we'll have to see if you're going to be actually able to use the fact that you've got those extra dragons here for G2.
I think it's big for Supa this time around that he has so many tools to peel for himself in the Jinx game. The composition didn't really set him up for success in that regard. He's also got Elyoya there with the extra shielding. So there's room for Xayah to take over this game. We saw it from Carzzy yesterday. If Xayah is set up for success, she can just take over entire team fights.
Yeah, especially with Alvaro being able to play in behind Supa and then set up for the play, but Myrwn cost.
Point and click. Cleanse comes out a little early, but it's okay. He's still holding on for now. Flick back, flashed away. Both sums forced out. And another gold card. The tower disabled. G2 relentless. And this is the thing, it's not against the melee matchup, it's not the on-hit Varus, it's the Taliyah Varus. He whips an arrow and he just stops doing damage for 14 seconds. G2 happy to punish in that regard, but of course they're losing something on the bot side in the meantime. Fresskowy quick to start taking these plates. Supa the same story. So MDK still fighting back.
And this is where MDK are saying, hey, look, we want to try and get the gold into our carries to be able to carry when we get to a team fight. When we get to in a position where we can actually try and front to back and play with a little bit of the poke that we have from the Varus and a little bit from the Azir. But realistically, it's so difficult because you can see now Myrwn is going to be the next point of call. You push in mid, Caps has ult again, you move that into top side. BB can even flash to get the stun. So MDK trying to punish G2 on this bot side, get the tower so they can match the play, but BB is on reset. He can't come in. That's why G2 engage.
Body block, immediate ult. Feather's gonna fly. Mikyx gonna be in trouble again. Waiting to hold back here. Good shield comes in from Elyoya. Double root. Patience on the pullback on the blade caller. Keeps Supa standing for now at Caps. Pretty quick. Will not push for anything else, and it's tense because I feel like if you give away the shutdown to G2, if Supa goes down, that's like kind of the glimmering light of hope for MDK right now. You cannot afford to give that gold away.
It's so difficult for MDK to try and protect Supa, though, with the way the game is set up at the moment. Because you can see how easy it is for the pressure from Caps into topside to set up BB to reset to then cover bot lane. So you've got this like push and pull that's constantly keeping G2 safe on the map. And when MDK try to break it, they have to invest so much onto the bot side that if it doesn't work out, Well, then Myrwn has to reset because Caps can move top, which opens up BB to get the turret. So MDK, they're doing the correct moves and trying to break bot lane tower, trying to play around Supa, but it's so difficult with the amount of globals that G2 have that if you don't find that hit, if you don't get that first strike, G2 just get to fight back very quickly by moving around the map.
Yeah, always able to present that man advantage in the vast majority of scenarios. And as well, Broken Blade just getting further and further ahead. Lethality Varus at a deficit has to feel like one of the most useless champions in the game, and I think that's doubly so in top lane when he doesn't have the luxury of a support to protect him. More likely to just get bullied here as G2 trying to force a play on the bottom side. Immediate engage, immediate flick back onto Supa, the flash away from the minefield, autoing the ward briefly, but now trying to finish away Caps. Ulti going in from Yike, trying to take down the AD carry, but Supa still standing. Crucially, Hansama. Rocket already done. Retreat now coming in. They need to lock down Caps. Supa getting away. Keep your eyes on Broken Blade. He has the flash. He has the gold card ready to go. Shield now going in, but Supa just doesn't have the space to deal damage. He doesn't have the health bar. G2 bullying MDK out.
G2 would need to try and set up though if they on this mid wave if they want to try and get some of the Mikyx.
Push back onto Mikyx is big. Quick pick and another kill into the back pocket of Supa. Hand delivered by Fresskowy.
And really nice job from MDK to get the kill because Myrwn stayed in topside. He pushed in, which is why BB was drawn up into that top side of the map. And Hansama and Mikyx were like, everyone's low. We can try and push in onto this mid turret. But Mikyx takes that step too far. Fresskowy, great punish on the play. But here, Supa is focused down, but there's just not a huge amount of damage onto him. He's fine to just step away. He knows he's got Elyoya to support him. Caps taken out of the fight. Hansama essentially not able to get any damage off. So Madeline's Koi able to step back away. This, I wasn't sure how far Caps wanted to ride this ride, but it gets off just at the right stop and tries to set up for BB as he comes in, but they're just not quite able to get the kills. And with everyone this low, Mickey's like, oh cool, we can actually try and set up, but Hansama has started to drift towards the top side. So Mikyx taking that step too far, a little bit greedy on the play and gets caught out.
You're laughing. You have to feel like it was a call. You have to feel like he knew. Mikyx would walk forward, maybe try to cancel the bases, get the small tempo advantage, cost him his life. 0-3-1 the score for Mikyx. Big fumble on that first play, hooking into the wall. 2 more deaths, I think a little out of his control as MDK have gotten further and further ahead on the bottom side of the map. 1.7k gold lead for Supa. Broken Blade is strong, and I mean, it has the luxury of the gold cards. So these fights are still going to be tough for MDK to navigate, but as more and more defensive items come through for both Alvaro and Elyoya, G2 might just not have the damage until Hansama has, 3 items to really take Supa out.
But the big thing is that you just can't approach the wave as Hansama. With how far ahead Supa is, like Alvaro can hide behind Supa, E to Supa, immediately engage on Hansama, you kill Hansama. So he has to play hyper defensive in the mid lane. And this just opens up the opportunity for Alvaro and Elyoya to start to drift to cover a lot of the G2 map plays. And that's where it starts to get scary for G2. If they're not able to actually control the map state, well, they're going to be able to, as MDK, to find those fights, to take these turrets, to push back G2, and they're just not going to be able to play the 1-3-1 style that they want to.
And while G2 have so many tools for map mobility, they have to be really careful that they don't overstep or get over-aggressive here, because when you look at the potential Baron threat, yes, we're only 15 minutes in, but that is Azir Xayah. A Xayah who's very quickly going to hit Navori. There's also a Varus, who isn't going to contribute as much, but is still going to do good damage. Like, this team deletes Baron. And so if you ever make a mistake, if you overstep the later we get into the game, it's so easy for MDK to just instantly force that objective. Broken Blade, though, continues to be the thorn in the side of MDK. He's the one with the individual lead for G2. Knocking down yet another tower, and it's really tough for anyone on this team to match him. Supa doesn't have cleanse, and it just means that Broken Blade can run that side lane.
But MDK don't really want to match. They want to just see if they can try and pressure on towards this bottom side, get the vision that they need, and maybe even threaten the tier 2. Myrwn now moving back towards the top, and honestly, in the grand scheme of things, mid lane tower significantly more valuable for MDK, because the big one that you're going to be able to look for is like push immediately deep. So then you have to try and accept the wave underneath your tier 2 tower here. So then you can start to drift down, look for the push on towards the tier 2, immediately take the tier 2, and then as you start to walk back, G2 have to try and pressure here, which then gives you a lot of opportunities to start to play up into this top side of the map. And with 3.5 minutes until Dragon, you can definitely get that tier 2 on the bottom side, and then just keep G2 push back in their own base, deny them the opportunity to play out on these side lanes.
Yeah, that's why we talk so much about the importance of mid lane tower, right? You just get access to either side of the map the second you have it. It's so much easier for you to gain vision control. You can push your vision line deeper. Yeah, top lane's okay, bot lane's okay, but it doesn't guarantee you access to an objective through mid in the same way, and playing through bot, playing through top is not nearly as reliable. It means giving something up in exchange rather than surefire being first on the play.
And that's why you can see G2 at least trying to see if they can cover areas where MDK are going to try and pressure. Yike Mikyx already moving up towards this top side. They haven't spotted Fresskowy on that bot wave, so they're very nervous. A lot of MDK members moving up onto this top end and trying to pick off TF, but I have to see exactly how they want to try and play it out, because there is moments where MDK don't necessarily have to put threat on towards this top tower, and once they see a lot of members of G2, I wouldn't be surprised to see them back away and just try and threaten the tier 2 and mid. And they're just trying to move G2 out of this topside jungle, so they've got ease of access into the tier 2. You can see here, Caps shifting from boss to cover.
Lots of damage now coming in. Supa unstoppable. Really should not have been there. That was a bit, let's say, bold from the side of Yike.
He was trying to see if he could spot out MDK and see how they were shifting across in towards the mid lane, but Caps had already got the mid wave cover, and the second you don't see Supa on the mid wave, you know the chances are they're sticking around in your jungle. So Yike takes a step too far forward and opens up MDK to get that top tower. And now, again, it's just rinse and repeat for MDK. They just need to try and keep this pressure up. As long as they don't misstep, G2 definitely behind. And Mikyx gonna see if he can spot Fresskowy, but ton of vision established on this top end for MDK.
And it's impressive, despite the massive deficit that Myrwn has been put in, that MDK have just such a chokehold over this game, built around the bottom side of the map. Now, more gold being put in the back pocket of Fresskowy, as well as he has just a slight lead over Caps. Feels more and more like they're favored, but G2 with tools to outmaneuver them, which has been how G2 have won a lot of their games against MDK. It hasn't always been, in the laning phase that they've found big leads. Oftentimes they've actually fallen behind, and it's only when the map starts to open up that G2 really start to outplay. But MDK right now in control. As long as Supa is alive, MDK are winning.
And that's at least where for MDK, as long as you are able to keep pressure on the map without overextending into situations that could cause issues, say on bot lane for Fresskowy here, you're going to be in a good spot. But the problem is, because you've got multiple squishy members, it's very difficult to leave someone alone in the side lane, because you don't know if Mikyx's going to suddenly show up with an ultimate to then take out the Varus alongside Caps. Caps has enough damage to one-shot you essentially this stage with that setup. So you've got to try and play this very safe, and that's why I think Elyoya needs to try and group mid here. Let Fresskowy build a slow push in the bot side. So then there's a massive wave that you have to deal with as G2, and then you can push mid, you can potentially threaten that tier 2 on the bot side, or at least you can establish vision in river that makes it very difficult for G2 to actually push up past the river push. And that's just what MDK are trying to do at the moment, but at least with 20 seconds until Dragon, mid priority is going to be the big one here, as we look to see maybe the first Dragon for MDK. But G2, a lot of members in the area, I think they might just forego it and look for the tier 2 on top there.
I think it's important for MDK. Normally, later we get, maybe there's an option to trade for the Baron, but you really got to stop that dragon stacking. Mikyx forced to flash out. Free summoner spell. Fresskowy now going to try to push Caps. Dash back. Flick back. Traded now. Good bit of damage. Caps push back into Fresskowy's tower, though. Now going to try to ult out to safety, but gets caught under the tower. The quick thumbs up. That's okay with me, buddy. 1v1 on the side lane. Shut down onto Caps. Fresskowy popping off.
TF is on at the Dragon, but MDK are on the Baron. They need to try and find some way to prevent Yike from getting in. He will be unstoppable with the ultimate. MDK, can they try and keep this bear out of the pit?
Navori quick blades. If they sync this up, if they time this up, it should be fine. They got perfect vision now, courtesy of the Destiny. Coming in from Broken Blade, they back off. They're disciplined. They're buying time. They're taking time. 2.3k getting lower and lower. In goes Yike. Down goes Yike. The Baron belongs to MDK. Sole point now for G2, the consolation prize. But all of MDK wearing purple.
Great punish from Fresskowy. MDK were like, look, chances are G2 aren't going to try and commit to Dragon. We've seen it too many times where they just try and play for advantages in side lanes. So ends up catching Caps as he threatens the push on side lanes. And they managed to get the Baron off. So really great job from MDK reading G2 there.
And honestly, very bold play, right? You can see they don't really have the control of having mid lane tier 1 knocked down. Being there, a bit of a surprise for even Caps. And execution good. I mean, Caps seconds away from being on the opposite side of the wall and making out with his life, but MDK quick to punish. And now, Alvaro trying to keep things snowballing in their favor, just delaying the recall of Broken Blade. Push in the bottom side coming in from Myrwn. Supa already in the mid lane on this tier 2. No one on G2 is going to try to stop this.
They're already being pushed out. A lot of pressure coming through from Alvaro means that G2 don't really find a comfortable space to back. They're going to be able to get mid. They rotate now as the resets come through onto the tier 2 as well. The Baron, they should fall. And with that, you're just getting G2 completely pushed into their own base. The only thing it looks like G2 might try and play around is this ward in the mid lane. Maybe they look for some sort of TP play with Caps, BB comes through. Maybe they can try and catch someone out. That's why G2 just trying to punish the resets here.
Supa? What? Now G2 are on the chase. 42 seconds left on Supa. Broken Blade steps forward. Gold card connects. Cleanse out from Myrwn. Rocket. Oh! Clean hit from Hansama, but we need... What happened there? Was he caught in the wall during the animation of the...
I'm not sure. We're going to have to look at the replay, but either way, G2 managing to get the picks that they needed. MDK, so whatever happened, desynced on the resets, and G2 now going to be able to start to push in. Is the hook, is the flick.
Where G2 starts to take over again. They have so much CC, they have so much set up, they can't afford to get over aggressive. They're still a Baron. Mikyx's going to give his life to make sure that this tower drops. Caps needs to be careful on the retreat. 2 seconds left on Supa. Going to start zooming out of the space. TP from behind. It's not the flank ward from TP or for G2 that matters.
Fresskowy.
It's Fresskowy on the back line. Going to try to scoop him.
They don't know.
Fresskowy's still working. It's a long flank. 4 members there. He has to be careful not to pull the trigger too soon. Spotted. They now know that he's coming. Broken Blade has to prep the gold card. Looks like the play will just fizzle. MDK haven't lost control of this game, but that was an excellent opportunity for G2. Excellent punish. And MDK cannot afford to make another mistake like that as G2 linger in the darkness. Hoping to catch MDK trying to make a fast play. It might just work out.
Push him mid, 2 waves going to die to the tower, so MDK!
Flash forward, Fresskowy knocked up, and Alvaro wants to turn it right back. Push back from Fresskowy is big, Fresskowy still standing, Mikyx not going to connect on the hook. The Azir still standing, the sidestep on the rocket is big. G2 now retreating. MDK have a wave to play on the top side, they take out Mikyx and keep this push going, another wave backing them up. They're looking to break open the base of G2. And G2 over eager, get punished. He's trying to make the play.
BB went mid to cover the wave push, so the MDK won't be able to get 2 towers off of this, but they will definitely get that top lane tower for themselves. G2 try to get a little bit more into the play and ends up backfiring massively there for them.
MDK, sigh of relief, getting that play, starts to shift things back in their favor again. 4K gold lead, still 3 jakes to G2, 1 minute and 40 till the next objective, and G2 just consistently trying to punish MDK. Staggered recall timings could be a death sentence. Supa just continuing to retreat. Yike.
Yeah, MDK have learned from the last one.
MDK retreating is 5 now. G2 going to move in and get first push onto mid. Resets are super delayed here. They haven't been able to spend all that gold they just earned.
Means you get push in mid, get control over the side lanes, and actually be massive because you get a reset in as well now for G2 just before this next dragon starts. We're going to have a look here. Yeah, so MDK just reset and Supa stuck around to get the blue buff for Myrwn. And it means that G2 end up finding that pick. I don't know if what the vision play was or if it was just BB with the ultimate, but they end up spotting it out, but great job from G2 to punish the desynced resets from Madeline's Koi.
Connects as well. I guess at that point, Supa just recognizes that he's dead and just lays down what damage he can and accepts his fate. Doesn't want to burn anything else. Certainly looks odd, but ultimately holds on to all the major cooldowns that he needs for the fights to come. And again, he's got more backup now. You know, QSS, or rather Mikhail is coming in for Elyoya to make sure that they can cleanse out to safety. You've got the Knight's Vow on Alvaro.
We're going to see MDK go for Dragon. G2 don't care. They're immediately going to start to put BB into a side lane. It's a question of how much pressure can they try and put onto this top lane before MDK try and respond in kind on that bottom side. Caps has decent wave clear at this stage, so it might be a bit tough to solo push out this lane, especially as Dragon 10 seconds away and BB already in the tower. Fresskowy is going to reset, but honestly, that might give the play that G2 are looking for. There's no TP available for anyone on MDK. And maybe that's where G2 look to try and find that TP or that collapse onto someone like Myrwn in the mid lane.
Trying to catch Fresskowy in the same way that he caught Caps moments ago. But play's going to fizzle. Yike is there. So ultimately,
There's the play. There's the play.
Myrwn now in trouble. Caps coming in. Broken Blade now coming in. Root goes out. Myrwn immediately going to cleanse, but it's just not enough. Broken Blade going to run him down. The Varus has got nowhere left to go. Alvaro now running for the hills as fast as he can back to the rest of his teammate, but here comes Yike. Alvaro needs to get out. He tries to dash back to safety. The shield coming in from Elyoya's clutch. Only a single member picked off. Myrwn taken out of the equation. G2 setting their sights on the Baron. 15 seconds till the worm spawns.
And there's no way that Myrwn will be able to get out. 30-second death timer, and that was it. G2, they pull back Fresskowy. As soon as Fresskowy shows in the wave, they know that they has no TP, so they look for the play. And now, Daisy doing the work.
Good hook. Fresskowy locked up. Pushback is there to try to disengage, but the stun now coming in. Yike over the top of Bear, right into the back line. Supa, ghost up. He has to turn this back into his favor. The flick back not going to connect. That's big. That's 1 cooldown. Alvaro here as well. 2 supports in Supa. Is it enough to take down G2?
Yike has no flash to get over the wall, so MDK going to try and push forward.
7K, getting lower. Elyoya can try to get in the pit. Alvaro using the engage, just wants to pick off Mikyx. Supa continues to step up. Baron down in favor of G2. MDK, is there still a fight here? Nice back step on the Unraveled Earth as Yike going to create space for the rest of his team now to recall.
There was no way they were able to get Yike out. Maybe waiting for the flash, but Yike had to give his life to ensure Baron. But G2, they're getting so many small advantages through these picks by punishing MDK on the map, punishing the lack of TP for Fresskowy. And now with Baron up, at least MDK should be able to push out a lot of these waves. You know, Yike being dead for another little while means he won't be able to get as much pressure, but it should be able to at least set up on 2 or 3 waves where they can start to threaten the base of Mad Lions Koi.
And I think right now they're happy to just have more time for Hansama to get the items that he needs, because you can see total control in the gold graph for Mad Lions Koi, at least on paper. But G2 just continue to find those picks. You highlighted it, the semi-global threat of the Taliyah and Twisted Fate. Mad Lions Koi have caught G2 a couple times. It's led to big advantages, especially when they caught Caps' Ivern when Fresskowy made the heroic play to get them that first Baron. But they can't afford to get sloppy with the lead that they have, because G2 will punish. Hansama has 3 items, and he doesn't need Armor Pen, not really. I mean, you've just got no effective tank on the opposite side. Arguably Rakan, but even then, that's a bit generous.
It becomes so difficult for MDK though. This is the worst case scenario where G2 have Baron, have the push in multiple lanes, and even look at Caps. He's just shoving in towards top side. Once they spot that Alvaro and stuff are in this bot side and they see Azir on the wave, Caps knows that he's free, essentially start to push through. Yes, Myrwn can lock him down, but even just getting the Baron buff onto some of these minions will help chip away at the turret.
And the other issue is that, right, this Varus is just so far behind. He's effectively useless. He's a
Yeah.
walking ult, and it means that you don't have that fallback of a scaling option, right? Like, yeah, the poke will hurt a little bit if G2 for some reason just hang out around an objective, but you're just not going to get those opportunities for Myrwn. He can catch the waves, certainly. He does enough damage to stop Caps from just driving him, but there's not a lot that the Varus can do in this game.
There's not a lot that G2 can do with the rest of this Baron though. A minute left, 2 waves. Not really in a position to do much, especially...
Yike! Oversteps, unstoppable now, forced to flash. Daisy caught out, Myrwn caught out once again. Flick back is there, good damage. Myrwn lives for a second longer. Caps gets the kill, and Broken Blade and Caps are now tearing down the top side. Split focus. MDK have to be incredibly decisive because the rest of G2 is already moving into mid. They're getting pulled back and forth. They can't decide where they need to go. Caps and Broken Blade are now stepping up. It's like a game of tag, and MDK are the ones losing.
I didn't expect them to be able to get BB in towards the top side of the base, but with MDK committing to Yike, they see their moment to catch onto Myrwn, but now Alvaro
fishing for the play, the flash forward, but no! The immediate denial, he stops the play in its track. Alvaro forced to retreat. Broken Blade stepping up with the gold card. Caps has the damage, the flick back, but no Unraveled Earth. And Fresskowy again turning the play back, but already Supa's the one in trouble. Supa trying to fire back, Supa trying to get the damage down. He can't pull the feathers back. He's down. G2 in the blink of an eye. They bring the game back in their favor.
every single time they'd find one pick, one moment, one opportunity, and G2 was shut down Mad Lions Koi.
They always take the shot, not letting that one slip away. Myrwn, he's been bullied all game. I don't think the ending play here is going to be any different. Hansama's got no health, just enough from the Crit Bloom. And G2, it was messy, it was sloppy, but a win is a win. They move on to face Fnatic.
G2 will pick up the win. The mid-game macro magic comes back again for G2 to net them that victory. It was hard fought, and that is going to be a bitter loss for MDK. But G2 find again those small little moments to bring it back.
Yeah. And like, G2 messed up a lot this game. MDK punished them beautifully. Fresskowy was on a tear. But of course, because there were mistakes, because so many of those mid-game plays turned against MDK, Hansama was relevant. And Myrwn never came back into the game. That is not the luxury that they got with that champion choice. So G2 took over. You can only have too many mistakes. Safe, I think. Maybe baseball is becoming like baseball. I don't know.
Yeah. But I do agree with you. I think this was always going to be a difficult one. We already said it. Look, when you come into this game, the pick opportunities when you have so many squishy members is really high. But that little bit of moments to bring it back were magical. This is going to be vote for your Kia player of the series at LEC on X, BB, Caps, or Hansama. Honestly, it's a toss-up between both solo laners for me. They were incredible, like working so well in tandem to find those
BB
points.
didn't exist for the first 25 minutes of game one because he was just Rek'Sai Udyr farming, but then when he showed up to those fights, he was a nightmare to deal with. And obviously game two, set up for success, snowballed on the TF, Myrwn completely shut down. Impressive series overall from G2. Still not as clean, I think, as many G2 fans would like, but signs of life, signs of improvement as they look ahead to their next challenger.
Yeah, going to be going up later on. It won't as well, actually. It's going to be Mad Lions who are going up against GX.
Yep.
And the opposite side, we're going to see G2 versus Fnatic. So that's going to be a banger. I'm really excited to see that one happen.
This is El Clasico. Screw it. This is El Clasico.
Yeah.
There's nothing. We're too far away from what you're going to tell me it's like SK Fnatic circa 2014. No, this is El Clasico.
But it's also like Fnatic on a bit of a tear. Like this is not the Fnatic that we've seen for the last even 2-3 years. This is a Fnatic that are very, very threatening. And if G2 are playing the early game like they have been, Fnatic are going to give them a run for their money if not take that series. So this is nearly to me feeling like maybe a glimpse of what our finals could be as we get towards the end of the year.
Certainly feels that way. And I think room, obviously, for a lot of these teams as they make their lower bracket runs, or on the opposite side of our bracket is Vitality. BDS will be going toe-to-toe. I believe in our first series of the day tomorrow, to shift the narrative, to shift expectations, to shift the story. But it does feel like, you know, sometimes the old ways are the best. Back to Fnatic G2 once more time. Narrative, legacy, dynasty.
I mean, it's still relatively new for me, so am I.
Oh yeah, so it's new for you. It's not new for BB though. He's no stranger to G2 versus Fnatic. Neither is Caps. Let's send it down for the interview with both of them.
Thank you very much, guys. You guys are not strangers to Fnatic versus G2, are you? Congratulations on a very swift, I will say, 2-0. However, not the cleanest game two. I'm gonna come to you first, Caps. Taliyah back-to-back. That second game was hanging on a thread. I saw you top lane, I saw you mid lane, I saw you bot lane, I saw you dive in towers and dying. What in the world was happening in that game two?
Yeah, I mean, they really wanted to go for a crazy game. The top laner picked Varus, of course. We were playing the TF. Mega volatile top lane matchup. I definitely had to visit it quite a few times. So it was a lot of fun. Hopefully we get some fun games tomorrow as well.
Absolutely, and BB, TF has been played internationally a lot at this point. It's been flexed into 3 roles. You have played the top lane quite a bit as well. Was that particularly created to pressure the Varus in the top lane? Because it feels like pretty much of an even matchup.
I mean, I definitely do think that Varus has the pressure, but we have the gank pressure, and they did not. And we played it very well. Obviously, Caps roamed top lane a lot, which helped my matchup. And TF Taliyah is a nice combo because I stun him, and then he just combos off that.
It was mid gap?
It was also a mid gap.
Okay.
It was a team gap as well.
All right, BB. And Caps, I'm going to take you over to game number 1 because you, BB, pulled out the Rek'Sai, you remained onto that Taliyah. My question right here is that you have a great game on the Rek'Sai, it works, you have sold it before, it worked wonders. How do you stop yourself from saying, frick it, play it on game 2 as well, because it works?
I actually didn't get I was looking at myself, I didn't understand.
Did you look good?
Sorry, I didn't get
Were you looking too good? You couldn't stop looking?
I was looking a little too sharp. Can you repeat the question?
Well, your Rek'Sai also looked very sharp, BB, in
Thank
game
you.
number 1. What stops you from saying, hey, let's repeat it, it worked in game number 1, let's pick it again game 2?
Well, Rek'Sai is a tank, right? And
I mean, it looks like an assassin, I don't know.
They blind picked Varus top lane, and Varus is known to be good into tanks. So I was like, you know what? It's probably not the greatest pick. So I just pulled out the TF, throwing some cards, not really team fighting. I was like race split pushing. Me and Caps had a very, very good game in terms of communication, how we want to play the game. We punished Varus very well throughout the whole game. And yeah, maybe that will make him think twice before blind picking Varus.
Absolutely, and thank you for setting up my next question. It is around mid lane and top lane, because you guys played the TF, likes to pressure the map. You play the Taliyah, also likes to pressure the map. I'd love to know the type of communication you guys are going through to sort of not only coordinate for the dives, but also who takes which lane at which point.
I mean, there's a lot of communication, right? Either the waves or tracking like where our opponents are, when we want to pressure and when we want to like take a reset, stuff like this.
And for you, BB?
Yeah, it's pretty much the same. It's really important that we are getting the right waves. At some point, we're like, oh, it's actually better if I'm laning against Azir because we can actually gank the Varus very easily, which we did actually. That was a key play, I think, that won us the game in the end. We were managing to like break through the base very slowly. We had to
talk a lot about who is showing on the map, when can we actually go for the play. We have 2 global ultimates, and I think we use it very well.
You guys coordinated so well and it showed in both of the games. Congratulations
Thank you.
again on a very quick 2-0. Now stick around because after the break we have PGL with Dylan Falco and Yike joining Ginny.
Oh man, I feel like that was my best intro ever.
Yeah, not bad, hey, not bad. Same. I can go pro. You know it as well. I also know you can dance. You should join me next time. And yes, I feel like you've also deserved a bit of a break. You've earned it.
Thanks.
Even the biggest champ needs a break.
Good job.
Hey, thank you.
Hey, shouldn't you be on stage right now?
Hey, you got a pick. Tom Kent? What? I was not expecting this.
And a crazy off-meta pick that secured you the win. How did you come up with it?
I just listened to my gut.
Welcome everyone to the Kia Tilt Proof Challenge. We're here to see if 4 gamers can stand up to the test.
Dios mío de mi vida.
I think I lost.
I'm so happy that I didn't eat before.